Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Her Power Podcast, a space created to educate, elevate, and empower young women in every role and season of life. My name is Sydney Ward, Miss Fall Fest Volunteer 2026, and I am also the founder of the Rise and Reclaim Project, which is an initiative I started to help young women build confidence, recognize their self-worth, and understand the power that they already carry within. For each episode, we're going to be sitting down with a variety of different leaders, change makers, athletes, and title holders in our communities and having real conversations about what confidence, self-worth, and empowerment looks like in each one of their unique roles. Because here at Rise and Reclaim, we believe that when women rise, they don't just grow, but they reclaim who they were always meant to be. So let's go ahead and get into this week's episode. Megan is a senior marketing student studying business administration and marketing at the University of Memphis. She is also a member of the Honors College, where she has distinguished herself both as a scholar and an influential campus leader. Megan currently serves as the president of the Gamma Eta chapter of Alpha Delta Pi, with former positions such as the vice president of marketing. She leads her sisters with authenticity while helping cultivate a strong culture of leadership and sisterhood. Beyond her role in Alpha Delta Pi, Megan is also currently serving as a marketing intern for Cyclone Social. Her passions for theater, marketing, creative strategy, communication, and servant leadership has earned her recognition, including the university's Academic Excellence in Marketing Award. Whether she's mentoring fellow students, strengthening her chapter, or creating opportunities for others to thrive, Megan is committed to leading with purpose and empowering those around her. Today, we're excited to hear her perspective on confidence, self-worth, and leadership and what it means to empower women both on and off campus. So please welcome today's guest, Megan Waugh. So for everybody listening, I always like to explain a little bit about how I know the guest. So Megan and I were both sisters in the same chapter here at the University of Memphis. I was also a part of Alpha Delta Pi here at the University of Memphis, and I was also a former chapter president. So we have very similar roles, or have had some very similar roles in AD Pi. So yeah, that's how we know each other. You introduce yourself a little bit to us and tell us a little bit about who Megan is.
Yeah, so I'm an incoming senior at the University of Memphis. I'm super excited to be going into my last year. A lot of laughs, but soaking it all in. As you said, I'm a marketing major. I have been in the business school all 4 years, so that's been really cool to start kind of building those connections with people in my same coursework. Outside of school and classes, obviously, I have AD Pi and my leadership, and I spend a lot of time in theater. I'm currently in rehearsals right now in Indiana for Grease the musical with a local theater here, so that's been really cool to meet a new community in this city. And yeah, I feel like that's kind of everything I do.
No, yeah, I love it. So you're studying marketing here at the U of M. So what drew you to that field initially? Was it something you were always interested in, or was it one moment that kind of sparked that interest?
I've always been drawn to the creative side of it, but my sister majored in marketing at UT Knox, and I think I just kind of decided on a whim. I was not sure what I wanted to go into, and that seemed like a good option. But my senior year, I had the opportunity to work on marketing and social media management for my high school theater program, and that was just a good experience to kind of dip my toes in the water and see if I enjoyed it. And I felt like that kind of reaffirmed my choice as far as my major decision. So yeah, started and I told myself if I didn't like it, I'd change it, and we're still here. So
You, as I mentioned earlier, you're serving as chapter president for Alpha Delta Pi. So did you always picture yourself in a leadership role like that? Has leadership always been something that's kind of natural to you, or was it something that kind of grew as you joined an organization like AD Pi?
I think I always knew that I wanted to or was going to be president. And I think sometimes I shy away from that answer. I think as like women, it's kind of like, oh, don't, you're so confident about it. But I think the day I came home, like meeting Erede Acosta, who was president when I was a new member, I was like, oh, I want to do that. And so I kind of knew I was like, okay, you're going to have to get an officer position. You're going to have to serve on exec. You have to set yourself up so that you can do this. And so I think it's something I always knew I wanted to do. And then just it became more set in stone. Like the more time I spent in the chapter, I knew that I wanted to lead these women. So, yeah.
I do wish more women, I think it is really common for us to kind of put ourselves down or put ourselves on the back burner a little bit.
Yes.
Because it almost, you don't want to come across as like too much or overconfident.
Yes.
But sometimes there is power in saying those things that you want out loud or even in your head, because when you think it and when you genuinely believe you can do it, you really can.
Exactly.
But I'll never forget actually when Megan was rushing.
Yep.
I remember we were talking just about the PNMs and the girls who were possibly going to come to 80 Pi, and everyone was obviously like, we really want Megan, we really want Megan. And I'll just never forget Lily Krigler looked at us and was like, that girl's going to be president one day. I just know it. And everyone was like, yeah, I get the energy. So it's kind of funny. But we're going to shift a little bit to talking a little bit about confidence, because especially in big leaderships like that, it often requires us to grow our confidence even when we might not be ready. So has there been a moment, in particular, one specific moment in your college experience that has challenged your confidence?
I think, honestly, it might have just been starting my term as president. President before me was my big Maddie Penn, of course. We love her. We know her. She's amazing. And I just think going into presidency, I recognized that we had very different leadership styles. And I also recognized that she was so beloved by this organization and all these women. And I think I just had to come to terms with like knowing that I wasn't going to be just like her, and knowing that I probably wouldn't be, I don't want to say like loved less, but I just think it's just like a different kind of relationship. So I think that kind of made me worry going into everything. And it's definitely like I've become more confident as time has gone on in this term. But yeah, I think that was just something where I had to like recognize that it was going to be different, but it wouldn't be any less, I wouldn't be any less worthy because of those differences.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I can relate to that in a lot of ways, because I was president right after Air Day, which I kind of felt the same way.
Yeah.
I just kind of felt like, okay, these are really big shoes to fill, and I feel like no matter what I do here, it's going to be not a fail, but in my eyes, it's going to be, right? So it's good to recognize for sure that we each have different qualities, and also remembering that something like chapter president, the chapter votes for that. So it's what they wanted. It's obviously they see something in you that maybe you might not even see yet, but extracting that and using it for sure. So kind of as you mentioned, as chapter president especially, there's a lot of eyes on you and kind of a lot of pressure. So how do you kind of handle that when it comes to your leadership style?
I think just trying to remember that the most of the eyes I care about are women that I consider my friends. And so just keeping that in mind and like the relationships that I build with them. And as far as outside of 80 Pi and like outside of my sisters, I just try to remember, I kind of like to think that anyone, like if you picked a student or any other collegiate member, whatever, of a different organization, if you were like, oh, here's Megan's Instagram, oh, here's a conversation with Megan, you should be able to see 80 Pi's values and like leadership qualities shining through me. And I feel like it's just anything that I do should represent my sisters, which is hard when there's 50 of them. But I think just remembering that, I don't know, it's just like being as authentic as I can to represent those values. And yeah, it's different, like different eyes, but doing the best that I can and trying to be a good face of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I just remember sometimes there are days when it just feels like you're always not doing enough, or you're always not showing up the way you could. But the good thing about a position like president is half the battle is showing up and being there for people. And so I think that you've done a wonderful job doing that. And I hope that you know it, even if people aren't saying it all the time. But you are appreciated. But that is something I actually really loved about what I love about Alpha Delta Pi in general, but our chapter specifically, was that there were so many different types of women, so many different backgrounds, walks of life, and interests. It wasn't one carbon copy of a type of woman we're looking for to join this organization. It encompasses everybody. So that's what I love about it. So college in general can be kind of full of a lot of comparison, whether it be academically, socially, even social media, especially in sorority life, I find. So kind of how do you protect your sense of self-worth and separating that from your achievements or your roles?
I definitely think that's hard because since I was little, I'm very words of affirmation. Like, I need the praise of like, oh, Megan, you did great with this thing, which in the adult world and like moving into different positions in leadership or like just in internships, jobs, whatever, that's, I feel like, such a hard thing to expect or to be like basing your worth off of, because a lot of people are not going to give you that verbal affirmation of, oh, this was a great job done, because it's just kind of an expectation. So I kind of just try to recognize that I'm doing my best and I know that I'm doing my best. I think as far as comparison between, me and another collegiate member or me and another student in a class, like that kind of stuff, I just try to think, like, what if it was one of my friends comparing herself? And I know that I wouldn't let them do that. I know that I'd be like, girl, snap out of it. Like, no, you're amazing. So I try to be like, okay, well, I'm such a hypocrite if I let myself talk to myself that way. So I'm going to just take a deep breath and recognize that I'm a completely different person. And there's no need to compare that. So, yeah, I think it's just about kind of reaffirming your worth independently.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. I like what you said about needing it's like sometimes as people, and like you said, you're that kind of person that appreciates those words of affirmation. And it is true when you get into that, especially professional settings, it's nobody's going to tell you or give you that pat on the back, even if you want it and you kind of crave it, because everyone's so busy with their own things. But something I always tell people that I interact with for Rise and Reclaim is very similar. If you wouldn't say it to your best friend, why do we say it in the mirror to yourself? And you don't think about that when in the moment when you're criticizing yourself, but when you take that outside perspective and be like, oh yeah, I would never say that to somebody else, so we shouldn't be saying it to ourselves. So have your roles in ADPi, or perhaps any other leadership roles that you've carried throughout your collegiate career, have they changed or shaped your confidence in kind of how you show up today? Is it something that has changed from before this experience?
I think they definitely have. I think I have had a natural confidence built through performance and theater, just because it's kind of something that you gotta have to get up on a stage in front of people. But I think it's also kind of a fake it till you make it mindset. Because I'm not 100% confident when I'm doing something as president or when I'm doing something at work, whatever. But I think sometimes I can be overconfident with this, but I'll try to fake it till I make it. I kind of just want to come in and be like, I may not be confident in what I'm doing at the moment, but I'm confident that I'm going to get it. I'm confident that I have the skills that are needed to do this properly, so I'm just going to keep my chin up and keep walking strong. So yeah, I think also definitely like presidency has been a really big benefit to my confidence, just because it's kind of that, oh, well, apparently dozens of women trust me, so there's got to be some worth to that decision. So I definitely think that's helped a lot.
Yeah, I really like that mindset, and I hope people take that away from listening to this, is kind of the aspect of fake it till you make it. And we talk about that a lot in pageantry too, because it is so hard to get on stage and put yourself out there like that. But once you start acting that way, it kind of becomes how you present and how you really are, which I love. So is there one thing that you would say, something you've learned about yourself maybe in this past year that has surprised you, maybe since starting your presidency thus far?
I think going into the role, I was worried about the managerial aspect of everything. I think my past leadership roles and just past positions that I've taken on in like any sort of comparison to this, it's been more task-based, where I can kind of build out a project for myself and check things off the box, like whatever. And I think president is definitely more have a hand in a couple different pies and kind of make sure the system is running pretty smooth. And at first I was like, no, I don't like that. Like, I need a checklist. This is not going to work. But I think I've realized over the past few months that I do enjoy it. I enjoy kind of getting to see the pieces come together when I'm texting with like VP recruitment, and then I'm going back to marketing and I'm like, oh, you guys, like, this will be good. We're going to make this happen where it's very cohesive and whatever. And I think I just also enjoy having an excuse to be like checking in with other members and being like, oh, have you spoken to this person? Because you have this thing. And so it's just nice to kind of get to be able to see how everything's working and then kind of be able to like push it in the right direction. It was a daunting task at first, but I think it surprised me how much I've been enjoying it, especially in the recent months.
Yeah, that's great. Because I can definitely relate to, I consider myself a type A person. And so I would say going into the presidency myself, I was like almost it was making me like go a little bit crazy because I'm like, I like structure, I like tasks, to-do lists, like this is not it. So it's definitely something that took a while for me to get used to and kind of where I fit in without being also like a micromanager. But it's great that you've been able to figure that out and then enjoy it along the way, because sometimes we forget to do that when we're so head down in the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. What would you say has been the most rewarding part about leading the chapter and the women that are in it?
Something that will always like stick with me, and that hasn't necessarily happened is like me being president yet, but just recruitment and getting to see new girls come in and experience like what I've gotten to experience these past few years, and just seeing not only them clicking with their new member class like so quickly, but also with other ACs or, member classes. And it's just something so special to watch, because it's especially, you obviously understand everyone who comes home to us, like it's always going to be such a diverse group of women, like different personalities, different backgrounds. And I think it's just so cool to like watch that 80 pie spark click in all of them, where it's like, yeah, like you guys are friends. Like we picked you out so you could be besties. Like I promise. And I just think that's like the most rewarding thing. And I love recruitment. I'm so excited for it this year. I cannot wait to see like what girls come home in the fall. But I think it's definitely just like, that's the best part, is like the fear, like the things I've experienced, getting to watch people experience those for the first time.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited for you to experience that, because I think being president and then witnessing recruitment is such like a powerful moment. And it is so emotional too, because you're getting to see everybody come together, and recruitment is that moment where the whole chapter rallies for the one goal and the one thing that we all came here for in the first place. And so it is just such a special week and such a special moment, especially in the position that you're in. So I can't wait to see what that looks like for you guys. And of course, I'm always cheering on the side and telling people to go 80 pie.
Yes.
Leadership isn't always glamorous. We both know that. So what is a difficult lesson that you've had to learn, whether it be during your time as president or even in other roles that you've held either in the chapter or outside of it?
I think, honestly, for me, it's that, like, how do I word this? I think just kind of not taking too many things to heart and understanding that everyone is so different, and like going through different things in their lives and have different values and different opinions on things, and just kind of understanding that like those disagreements don't have to be a make or break in a relationship with that person. And so in like such a large group of women, like again, we're all so different. And obviously there's going to be things that just like it's not going to be the same, but I don't ever want that to like affect like the love I have for that person. And I think that's just the biggest thing, is like no matter what I hear or like what is coming around, it's always just like love. I've tried to explain to people before, I'm like, it's a sisterhood. I'm like, sisters are gonna disagree. I was like, you have a sister at home? I do. I was like, I fought with her for 12 years and then suddenly we became friends. But I was like, it's just like that. No matter how many times I fight with her, I still have so much love for her and so much respect for her. And so I think the biggest takeaway from that is just showing that love no matter what, even if something's coming at me or I'm coming at someone else. Either way, I think just remembering that you share something bigger than whatever is currently like making that disagreement. And yeah, and I think it's hard as a leader in that to be, I know it's hard as a leader to kind of be over all of that, and whether you're taking the brunt of it or you're watching it happen, it can be like difficult to see people not get along. But I see them come back together all the time, and that's what makes me happy, and that's what makes it all worth it in the end.
Yeah. Sorority life is definitely, it is the best way to describe it. It's exactly like you said, a sisterhood and a family. You fight, but you always make up, because you guys have that common thing. And something I've learned, being out of college now, because I feel like it's like hard to see it when you're in the moment, but is that I feel like we don't realize at the time, but like obviously 18 to 22 are the ages where you're making the most mistakes, you're making the most personal growth in your life, but you're also making some of the worst mistakes and the hardest challenges that you'll go through at such a pivotal time in your life. And when you put 60 women in a room all experiencing their own personal goals, it's going to be challenging. No matter what group of women or people that it is. And so remembering that and kind of remembering that it's not anybody's fault. It's just kind of the cycle of life and the part of this journey that we're all on together. What qualities do you hope people remember you for as a leader in ADPi after your presidency ends?
I think I would want people to remember me for as a leader who is strong and someone who is authentic in my leadership style. I think the strength part, like, I think I just want them to understand that, like, I will fight for them, like, I do fight for them. And then also to think of me as a strong character just on my own. And then authenticity, I think that's a word so many people use to describe ADPi. And I think being able to live out that value, like, I really, really want to be remembered for that. I don't ever want to change my character to fit into what I think is expected of me. And I don't want girls coming in to think that I've done that, because I want the next presidents to feel like they can be strong and like they can be authentic. So I think, strength and authenticity. We'll go with those two.
I love that. And I would just say, like, as someone who has had the privilege of witnessing you lead for the last 3 years in our chapter, and since the day you ran home, like, I can say in every capacity I've interacted with you, like, you have never, like, faltered once from who you are. And I think that is so, like you said, it's so genuine when you see somebody like that, because no matter kind of what roles you've had or kind of how you've been an integral member of the chapter, it has always been who you are at the forefront. And I do really love that
means
about
so
you
much
and
to
how you
me.
lead. Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what is one misconception you think that a lot of people have about sorority life or sorority women? And what do you wish they knew about it?
I don't know if I have a specific misconception, but I think just the general stigma or the general stereotype of, these women are joining sororities and they're paying for their friendships and they're going out and they're wasting their time, going out and partying, doing other things that are frowned upon, whatever. It makes me want to laugh. And what makes me specifically angry is when it's other women who are kind of leaning into that and being like, like sororities. High school Megan would never, if you told her in a million years, like, Megan, you're going to be the president of your sorority in 2026, she would have said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to join a sorority. That's so weird. And I think so many people share her mindset of past Megan, where it's like, oh, like, that's, it's this, stereotype of a woman, whatever. And I just don't think they realize, like, how it can just change you and help you grow. I mean, I think that I've grown so much as a woman, as a leader in the past 3 years of my membership. Who knows where I'll be a year from now? Like, you just don't know. And so it just, I mean, we do so much. Like, I always tell people the paying for your friends thing. I'm like, I'm not paying for my friends. I'm paying to go do stuff with my friends. I'm like, you count up all the money I'm spending, it's probably what I'd end up spending on social activities anyways. And then, of course, like, it's not just, community. It's also something that's supporting a greater good. Alpha Delta Pi, we support the Ronald McDonald House. We're raising money every year to support families who don't have other options and who need RMH to have a safe place to go while their kids are receiving treatment at St. Jude. Like, that's just such a big thing to be a part of. And I just think I don't think there's one misconception. I think there's so many. And I just wish that people could understand and, like, come in for a day and witness it. And I also think Alpha Delta Pi is just a great example of beating that stereotype, just because of the women that we have. Like, I think that we are so different and unique, and I love that about us. I think we're kicking the stereotype in the butt every day, and I love it. So yeah, it just makes me like upset when it's other women who are looking down on it, because I'm like, why would you not want to join an organization full of women who are your best friends and you're doing stuff to like help the community and stuff like that? Where's the bad part in that?
Yeah, I feel like that. I honestly feel like sorority life and a little bit of pageantry kind of get the same kind of mix of misconceptions, because it's kind of the same idea.
Yes.
They think that we're just paying to hang out on a stage and wear dresses, which is obviously fun and we love that part of it. But all of us have a serve initiative. All of us are raising money for good organizations.
Exactly.
So, and I will say on the other side of being on a sorority and joining like a professional career now, I see so many things now in my life that I'm like so thankful for the fact that I had sorority to teach me that lesson before I joined like the professional world, because I didn't realize at the time how much I had developed and grown as a person and as a woman until I got into that space, and then was like very thankful for my sorority experience and the leadership that it taught me, and the women who I still have to fall back on and reach out to when maybe things aren't going so well. So yes, if anyone's listening out there, it is so much more than that. And if you are questioning it, Megan has been in that position. I was in that position. I was like, I'm never going to rush. Like, I'm not going to be a sorority girl. And here we both are. So this is your sign to go do it. So at Rise and Reclaim, we always say that empowered women empower other women. And so I think sisterhood is one of the greatest examples of that. So who are some of the women that have empowered you throughout your life, whether it be the connections you've made through your sorority or even outside of that?
I think the first one would have to be my mama, obviously. I'm a mama's girl. But yeah, my mom, I think I didn't realize how lucky I was to like have her as my mom until I think I went away to college. I think that's what a lot of people experience, is kind of understanding that like the distance, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And just kind of getting to explore a different relationship with her as far as having similar experiences. She was in a sorority in college. She was an AZD up in Michigan. And so just kind of like, I love getting to hear from her about stuff. And she, she'll talk to me. She'll be like, I didn't care nearly as much as you do. She's like, she's like, I can't remember a single time when I was worried about anything happening in my sorority. She says, I showed up and I went home. She's like, I loved my sisters, obviously. It's just, she's like, I'm so proud of you for everything that you put into this. And she is just a constant reminder when anything's going wrong. She's like, listen, I watch how much you do. You tell me all of these things. Like, I understand how you're feeling and I know that you care. She's like, she just empowers me so much to be a better leader and be a better sister. And then as far as other people, I mean, obviously I have to say Maddie Penn. Obviously. I think like from my first week as a Alpha Delta Pi member, I remember I told her, I was like, I was trying to remember meeting you on bid day and I don't remember it. I remember she had a blue wig on, but I don't remember speaking to her. And meeting her, I think like the first week after bid day, just at the house, like I felt like she was immediately someone who understood who I was and I understood who she was. And I just feel like from that day on, we've both empowered each other so much and encouraged each other to never waver, as you said, like from who we are. And she's encouraged me every step of the way in my leadership journey in AD Pi. So I think right now, those are my two big ones in my life. There's so many more. I mean, Lily Krigler, Zabdi, Lily, like during the recruitment process, every day she just made me feel so like wanted and loved. Just coming in and seeing a familiar face and her coming up and being like, hey, Megan, I'm so glad that you're back. I was like, girl, me too. It's just like, yeah, I would say those are the big ones, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, yeah, I think huge Maddie Penn shout out on here, by the way.
Huge Maddie Penn shout out.
Because I don't know who she hasn't empowered, to be honest. Every conversation. I think what's common in both Maddie and Lily and similar people who are like that is they're very intentional with how they interact with you, how they come to you, how they empower you. And I feel like that is what sets them apart, in my opinion. It's just how they go out of their way to make sure you know that you're seen and you're valued in that space. How do you intentionally empower the women in your chapter and try to empower them to lead successfully?
I kind of go about it in like a more aggressive approach. I feel like I'm the type who's gonna come up to you and be like, "So are you running for exec next year?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, you'd be an amazing VP of blah blah blah." And they're like, "Oh, I didn't even think about that." And I was like, "Well, I've been watching you, and I can tell you've got potential." I don't think there's anything subtle about how I go about it. I think I'm intentional, but I think it's more of like I'm gonna lock in on you and I'm gonna like yell at you and tell you how beautiful you are. I think that's just my style. We do, oh gosh, I was thinking about this the other day. We do, Greek's Got Talent, which is another sorority's philanthropy event on campus, and we've done it for the past 2 years. I think we did it a year before then, but we skipped one in between. But that doesn't matter. But my favorite thing is like the first few rehearsals, I always just kind of make these girls who like sign up. I'm like, gosh, I love you guys for signing up because I know that none of you actually want to do this. I'm like, I love you guys so much. And I'll have them like the first 2 practices, Dree and I'll be like, okay, everyone line up. We're going to strut. And I will make these girls strut back and forth like a pacer test because it is just like the most empowering thing. I'm like, I put on a good song for you. And I'm like, give me your most powerful walk. And it's just Dree and I standing there like yelling beautiful affirmations at them. I'm like, yes, you're amazing. Look at those hips. I'm like, you're so beautiful. And I think that's a good example of how I go about empowering people. I'm just going to yell amazing things at you until it gets through to your brain that you're worthy and you're amazing and you deserve the world. And yeah, I think sometimes that's just what I think people need. I want to come up and shake your shoulders and be like, you'd be an amazing vice president of membership. You should run for it. And you're so hot. I love you. I think that's my best style, and that's my best example of how I do it.
I love that. Bro, Megan's like a pyramid scheme. You know those people that be texting you like, hey, Gertie?
Yeah. Yes, it's me. It is. I'm reaching out to them in June. I'm like, what are you going to run for in November? They're like, what?
You're like, so here's my 6-month timeline for you.
I have a plan for you. We're going to get you to the top, babe.
So what is one piece of advice that you hope every new member who might be going through recruitment should know?
Oh my gosh. Stay open. Stay open. I like to think that I was pretty open-minded going into recruitment, but of course, like every girl, I stalked people on Instagram. I had my idea of like what I thought was right for me. And to be honest, 90% of it was based off of color scheme. I was like, gosh, I'd look great in that. And I think everyone, they kind of fall victim to like the SEC narrative of like these girls are going in, they're like, oh, I want this top house. And I'm like, well, are those girls the best fit for you? I'm like, I'm not saying that you're not an amazing, amazing woman and you wouldn't be a beneficial sister to any house, but I'm saying, are those women meant to be your friends? I'm like, those systems I feel like are based off of, I don't even know what. But I'm like going in and just having that open mind of like, okay, today I get to go speak to 6 different groups of women and see if I vibe with them. And I mean, I even advise people, I'm like, you should just sign up for recruitment, even if you're not sure about going through to the end, because you meet so many amazing people and not everyone's going to be for you. And that's okay. But having that open mind is just so important. I mean, I know going in, like ADPI was not at the top of my list, but I think after I was really feeling ill after philanthropy, but I think after sisterhood is like when it sealed for me. I was like, oh, I'm so comfortable. I'm so at home. And like, that's just sometimes it's not going to be what you expected, but it's where you're going to like, it's where you're meant to be. So just not forming too many solid opinions before the process. 'Cause I don't know, I think it weighs on your heart. So go in with intentions of being open and just having fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's stressful, but it's supposed to be fun. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
like that
that's
advice. It's really good advice. And I remember when I was going through recruitment, like I remember I did a little bit of research on everybody after that
Mhm.
first night, like just what's your philanthropy, kind of what are their colors, kind of same thing. And
Yeah.
who I had at the top of my list based on the things I found online, versus after conversations with people, were very different. And I will
Yeah.
say that 80 Pie, I always have been very proud of our sisterhood video. Every year it gets me. Every year I think it's the best video that we do
Yes.
because I think it's a true reflection of how we are and exactly what you're looking for in a sorority when you go.
Yeah.
So take Megan's advice and definitely rush if you're considering it because you never know who you'll meet.
Yes.
Looking back at freshman year Megan, what would surprise her most about who you've become today?
I think I don't think she'd be too surprised, to be honest. Like I said, she was pretty confident from day one. I don't know where she got that from, but she had an idea in her mind and she got here. I think she would just probably be most surprised by hmm, I think she'd be most surprised by like the relationships that she has built and like kept. I think going in, she was a little I keep talking about myself in the third person. I was a little shaky going in, just even on bid day, it's a celebration, but it's a little nerve wracking to kind of be thrown into this group of women who are already such good friends, and then it's a bunch of girls who don't even know each other yet, and they're kind of like, oh, do I speak to you? Do I speak to you? And I think just as someone who has struggled a lot in my life with like not necessarily female friendships, but just genuine friendships and friendships where I don't feel like there's any kind of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example. I think just struggling with finding friendships that felt very genuine and supportive. I think I'd be surprised with how many of those that I've been just so amazingly gifted. And I think she'd be so excited. But I think I'd be surprised at just, yeah, the genuineness of the relationships that I've gotten to experience and continue. And yeah, be great.
I think too, what's interesting is you're one of the first people I've talked to who, has discussed maybe the opposite in how they started confident and they came in with a mindset where they already felt capable and empowered. And I think that is a testament a little bit to what you were talking about with your mom and the power of having a female in the house and growing up with someone that's always going to make you feel that way and always empowering you.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
the impact of that alone is obviously evident in how you've been able to see yourself and develop through college. Two little questions left before we close out. So, if a young woman is listening to this right now and is struggling with her confidence or might be struggling to fit in somewhere, what would you want her to hear? What would you want to tell her?
I think I'd want to tell her that she is exactly the way she needs to be, and that confidence comes with kind of understanding yourself and just kind of adapting that attitude of like, well, I know that I'm here and I'm myself. And, if I'm not fitting into something or like a group, then maybe I don't want to fit into that. And sorry, that's loud. Then maybe I don't want to fit into that. And there's a better space waiting for me that is going to adapt to me more. I would say never ever change never change anything to fit into another group. The best advice is to just stay true to yourself, and that confidence just comes, I think, with recognizing. I think every year I kind of feel that I grow in my confidence a little bit more because I think every year I feel more comfortable in my own skin. And I think it's beyond feeling comfortable in my own skin, it goes beyond like how I look or my body or whatever. I think it's just like existing in myself and my personality and understanding that I'm always changing, but I'm never going to change for something. And so I think just kind of drawing confidence from yourself, and the people that do support you, lean on them, talk to them. You have a mom in the house that you feel comfortable speaking to. You have a sister. You have a best friend from high school that you're like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm really liking the situation. Speak to her. See what she thinks about it. It's just finding people that you know are going to be honest and loving and supportive towards you, so that you can take some of that and build it for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And especially what you said about, how every day or every year you feel more confident because it's another year living in your skin and going through life. And I think that's really an important thing for everybody to remember, is that it's not, confidence especially is not something that is just going to show up overnight, or you're going to join a sorority and all of a sudden I feel confident. It is something that takes a lot of time to kind of build and figure out who you are, and then feel confident and comfortable in that, as well as a whole other challenge. So just stay true to yourself, and just know that it'll come. It just might take some time. So for my last question, my platform Rise and Reclaim is built on 3 words, which is educate, elevate, and empower. So which one of those 3 do you think you resonate most with right now in your season of life, and why?
Think empower, which I wasn't sure about until we spoke so much about it, but I think empower. And I think just because at this time in my life, I feel like I'm at a place where I am given so many opportunities to empower other women, and I'm also feeling so much empowerment from my sisters. And so I think it's just kind of a give and take relationship of that. And I think it's also just so important at this time, like in the world, to continue to empower women. I think we're going through a lot of stuff continually. And I think the best thing that we can do is just not turn our backs on each other, no matter like differences or whatever, and just continue to keep making each other strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Empowerment is my favorite, so I love when everybody says empower. All right. Well, Megan, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your heart with us. I know that a lot of women, whether you're in college or whether you're stepping into leadership for the first time, they're going to be encouraged by your story, hopefully, and something you shared today. They can take away and use that in their next role and season of life. So thank you for coming on and chatting with us.
Thank you for having me.
To all of our listeners, thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Her Power. I hope that today's conversation with Megan reminded you that embracing who you are and being authentically you is the best form of confidence and empowerment that you can have. So a big shout out to Megan again for coming on. I always love talking all things AD Pi and of course Gamma Eta with her as my alumni chapter. So thanks for coming on and sharing your heart, Megan, and your unique perspective. And we're so grateful that you could chat with us today. So for everybody listening, remember, your power is already within, and we will see you next time on Her Power. Bye.